joining in. It's a great honor to do this interview. If you could start off by giving us some details on the anchor investors. How much have you raised? Who are the anchor investors?
Our IPO is opening today. Narayana Hrudalaya IPO is opening today. And our anchor investors are GIC. I think GIC is from Singapore. The Morgan Stanley, then Fidelity, then Nomura, and HDFC, SBI, UTI, and Reliance. In fact, we had too many people interested in this script, so it was a bit difficult task for our team to choose. So essentially, we have raised 180 or 90 crore rupees. That's the maximum allowed from the anchor investors. Yeah, this is what we have raised so far.
Okay. Dr. Shetty, hi, thank you very much for joining in. You know, when the company says it focuses on affordable healthcare, then what does the company mean by it? Can you expand in terms of what your business model is?
I'll just give an example of heart surgery. India requires close to 20 lakh heart surgeries a year. All the heart hospitals in the country put together perform about 1,20,000 to 1,30,000 heart surgeries per year. And the rest of the patients suffer. And unfortunately, today when you're talking about tertiary level healthcare, it is accessible to only rich people. But our target is to reduce the cost. And we work with the various governments. In Karnataka, there is a scheme called Yashaswini, which was conceptualized by us, and similar schemes exist in most of the southern Indian states. And these patients comprise about 20% of our total patient volume. Large number of corporate hospitals are not comfortable to deal with this category of people, where you don't get the real, say, heart surgery, you get 80,000 rupees. How many hospitals in India today want to perform a complex heart operation on a child for 80,000 rupees? And that's all we get. And we are comfortable with that. So essentially 20% of our patients across the group are belonging to various government schemes. These are the poor people under the BPL and other schemes. Then another 20% are operated by us at a subsidized rate. So essentially, we have created a package for every pocket. We virtually never refuse patients if they have a financial difficulty. And we are also working with large number of philanthropic agencies in India who pay some money for these operations. So essentially, it's a multi-pronged approach to offer tertiary healthcare at a price what patients can afford.
Okay, fair enough. But sir, will the company look to continue with this subsidized revenue model, or will it, say, move towards more private beds where the charges are not subsidized, and hence that will eventually improve your profits?
Our mature hospitals are profitable and they have a good, healthy margin, and we want to maintain that. And we do not want to go away from the philosophy of affordable healthcare. That is the purpose of creating the institution, and that is going to be the heart of the institution. And if we drift away from there, the business model will collapse. The business model is based on the fact that charity is not scalable. Good business principles are scalable. And only sticking to this concept, we can scale up our operation pan-India and remain viable long-term. So we do not want to go away from our core philosophy, which makes perfect business sense in the long term.
Well, Dr. Shetty, could you detail your capex for us, and also how many hospitals does the company have coming up, and how many are, say, under the asset-light model?
We have different models for expansion. One is a greenfield project, like any other hospital, but we also work with various governments, trusts, and real estate developers, where our capital outlay for a new project is much, much smaller. For example, within the next 4 years, we have committed to develop 4 hospitals, And these 4 hospitals will come up with the investment of 100 crore rupees. Because we are predominantly providing the medical equipments and managing the hospital. So it's a different model altogether, and we have a strategy of growth, either starting greenfield or brownfield projects, or acquiring or working with the governments on a PPP model. We are exploring various options. On the whole, our capital outlay is significantly less compared to the industry standards.
Okay, fair enough. So one of the concerns has been the higher valuations for the company itself. Say, for example, on FY15, your EPS was loss-making, and first half of FY16 also, it wasn't very significant. Can you give us more details in terms of what your growth or your profit scalability will look like in order to improve your EPS going forward?
We started 13 new hospitals in the last few years, and as the hospital gets mature, the margin and the top line, everything improves. When the hospital is young, obviously you're under pressure. So we have a large number of hospitals which are in the phase of maturity at various levels. So we are very optimistic about the future.
Okay. What about the company's plans to expand internationally? You have a hospital in Cayman Islands. Any more that you would like to set up abroad?
See, we have set up a hospital in Cayman Island, and until that becomes profitable, we do not want to look at any other projects. Only when it starts making profit, we look at expanding in other areas. We have interest in expanding, but these expansion will only happen as long as we don't have to invest large sums of money. As long as it is limited to our participation in terms of managing, we'll be very happy. But if we have to risk our rupee for a dollar risk, we won't be comfortable in doing it.
Well, Dr. Shetty, when do you expect the Cayman operations to become profitable?
Like any other hospital, Cayman Island Hospital was started just over a year ago, and it got Joint Commission accreditation just a year ago. So it is drifting in the right direction. It takes some time for all these hospitals to break even.
Okay, what about your new hospitals? When will they break even?
Generally, hospital takes 3 years to 5 years to break even in India. That's been the standard, and we can't be an exception. But as the time passes by, the margin gets better and better. As the footfall increases, as people come to know there is a hospital, things get better. But by 5 years, most hospitals become profitable.
Okay, fair enough. Sir, you know, one of the points that really stood out for me was that you all see 0% or negligible attrition that takes place among senior doctors, which is quite an important factor for quality sustainability in hospitals. How do you manage that?
Our attrition rate among the senior doctors is extremely small. Hardly anyone leaves our organization at the senior level, predominantly because they enjoy working in our group. Mainly because, you see, the doctors you want to hire, doctors with magic in their finger. So these are the people who have different levels of aspiration. The most important aspiration is advancing their skill and performing procedures, complex procedures. When they come across a poor patient who has no money but requires a complex heart operation or a brain operation or a cancer surgery, he has the option to do the procedure if it is going to benefit the patient, whether the patient pays the money or not. So that he professionally is very happy. And they also want to get involved in academics. They want to be teachers. We are an academic institution. We have at any given time over 300 young doctors undergoing training program. So they are part of the training program. And a lot of doctors want to do research and publish. We encourage research and publication. In fact, when they publish in peer-reviewed journals, we give them a reward. And they also have a significant say in the way the hospital runs. In management, they have a significant say. So on the whole, doctors are happy working in our organization. So hardly anyone leaves us.
Okay, fair enough. Dr. Shetty, then could you just end by telling us more about yourself? You're very renowned as a cardiologist across India. Can you tell us about yourself a little bit, as well as your vision for healthcare in India?
At a very early stage of my life, I realized in India that charity is not scalable. Good business principles are scalable. That's the reason when we created Narayana Hrudalaya, we created it like a company. I'm convinced that India will become the first country in the world to dissociate healthcare from affluence. India will prove to the rest of the world that the wealth of the nation has nothing to do with the quality of healthcare its citizens can enjoy. And we will see that happening within the next 10 years. Because healthcare is an issue which will get a lot of political attention, like what has happened in US and Europe. Same thing will happen in India. The right kind of policies will get formed, and healthcare industry will drive the economy of the country. And healthcare industry will emerge as the largest employer of India. In UK, just taking care of 50 million people, NHS hires the fifth largest number of workforce in the world. Same thing is going to happen in India. Essentially, this industry will define the future economic situation of the world. And it is going to happen, and India will show the way how it can be done.
Okay, that is India's philanthropist surgeon, Dr. Devi Shetty. Thank you so much for taking the time out and joining in. And thanks, Ekta, for the interview as well, often known as the Henry Ford of healthcare. But let's move on. We've got a couple of stocks reacting to the